Hi, I'm Julia. On this channel, I'm going to look at the issues facing our environment and our health. With the best of my ability, I'll summarise and share my review of the evidence with you. In this episode, I'll look at the evidence for an environmental impact of pets. As more people choose to live with animal companions, what is their environmental paw print? So far in this series of videos, we've looked at some environmental reasons for choosing a plant-based diet. Climate change and its devastating effects are happening now, and climate change is driven by us humans. We need to make changes to the way we live and to the way that we do business in order to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we need to act now. Time is running out. Climate change is happening more rapidly than expected, with disastrous effects on ecosystems, on wildlife, on our crop yields, on river and ocean flooding, on extreme weather events, and more. One way we can all help is to eat a plant-based diet.
No way! Yes way!
Currently, producing our food accounts for at least 1/4 of all greenhouse gas emissions. Fresh water is scarce and precious. Meat and dairy use more water to produce than crops. It takes much more water to produce beef than it does to produce beans. Humans are omnivores and we can thrive on a plant-based diet. We do not need to eat meat or dairy, we choose to eat it. Agriculture's demand for land and our modern farming practices are to blame for more than 60% of species identified as threatened or near threatened by extinction. And today we are experiencing the world's 6th mass extinction event. It's entirely driven by our human activity. There are 7.6 billion of us, 1 billion more of us every 12 years, and diets around the world are changing to include more meat and more dairy. As more of us adopt the consumption behaviours of the developed world, we will face increasing anthropogenic harms. Our current system of food production and inequitable overconsumption of resources is not sustainable.
Wake up!
In many places around the world, the numbers of us choosing to live with companion animals is on the rise. And at the same time as living standards for humans improve, we are also more likely to buy commercial pet food for our animals rather than feed them with table scraps. Why does that matter? In the USA, more of us are pet owners than anywhere else in the world. In excess of 60% of households have a pet, which totals more than 180 million pets. Dogs are the most popular, with 1 out of 3 households having at least 1 dog. Cats are the next most popular pet, with 1 out of 4 households having at least 1 cat. That adds up to a lot of pet food needed to feed them all.
Well, hand it over. What? No gravy?
Feeding America's cats and dogs requires lots of energy and resources. It's been estimated that more than 1/4 of the environmental impacts of using fossil fuel, water, land and agrochemicals to raise livestock is attributable to feeding our pets. A recent study in Japan evaluated the environmental impact of that country's approximately 20 million dogs and cats. The researchers calculated that annual greenhouse gas emissions from feeding dogs and cats was equivalent to the environmental impact of producing the food for somewhere between 1 million to 5 million people. The same researchers estimated that in China, feeding the 85 million companion cats and dogs there was equivalent in greenhouse gas emissions of producing the food for somewhere between 34 million to as many as 107 million people. It's extremely sad and a moral tragedy that we humans are driving the Earth's 6th mass extinction. It's even worse to consider that our love of our pets may be a contributing factor. Some of our domestic cats live and breed without interaction with humans. Perhaps they were strays or born into the outdoors, but now they're feral. In the USA, feral cats and free-ranging companion cats kill 12 billion mammals and about 2.5 billion birds every year. The Humane Society estimates that there could be 40 million stray and feral cats in the US, and that only about 2% of this population is spayed or neutered. Given the environmental paw print of our companion animals, there must be something we can do. Well, yes, there is. If you are considering giving a home to an animal, think carefully about the commitment before you make it. Think about the cost of caring for its needs, as well as the potential cost to the environment. If you feel that you need a relationship with a cat or dog, consider volunteering at your local animal shelter as a different way to share your love and meet your needs. Consider the kind of diet that you'll be able to feed your companion cat or dog. There is a plant-powered dog movement, and it is possible for your dog to lead a healthy life eating a plant-based diet. Apparently, having evolved living with humans for 40,000 years, dogs are omnivores like us. Cats, however, are different. They're carnivores. Nevertheless, although controversial, there are veterinarians who provide some evidence that it's also possible to feed cats vegetarian diets, but with diligence to ensure that they get the nutrients that they need. As those who live with cats know, they can be fussy eaters and so may not take readily to such diets. The good news is that companies are developing lab-grown meat for pet foods that could be available soon. Lab-grown meats have far less impact on the environment. Other ideas for environmental harm reduction include the development of pet foods from insects and fungi. These may provide the answer for feeding cats and other carnivore pets. If you decide to go ahead and bring an animal companion into your home, please choose to adopt from a shelter. The American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals estimates that there are 6.5 million pets brought into shelters each year in the US. There is no doubt that feral cats kill wildlife. If you have a companion cat, consider keeping it inside so it can't kill wildlife. Support organizations that spay and neuter feral cats and that vaccinate them and treat them for disease. In the next video, I'll take a look at what is in a healthy plant-based diet, as well as some of the health benefits of plant-based diets for us humans. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like this page and subscribe to Your Care Plan on YouTube. If you want to research further into this topic, I have included a list of references in the video description. See you next time.